This AdventHealth 400 DFS Picks 2025 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It's brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog just launched their new ladders game where you can win up to 500 times your entry. Plus, when you use our promo code RACESGPN, you can get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost, the bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN and get a $25 matching deposit bonus.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. There we are. And we are here today to talk about NASCAR DFS. And it is the Kansas Speedway. It is the AdventHealth 400. Cody, welcome finally to the stream. And for those of you listening on traditional audio, well, you're just used to hearing me talk for a couple of minutes, so it didn't bother you a bit.
Yes, we'll get this figured out at some point in time, Rod. But 48 hours away from right now, I will be live at Kansas Speedway, there for Cup Series qualifying. Oh, I'm so fucking excited. Let's fucking go.
You know what I love the best, though, is that like those couple of days before race day, you feel the jitters. You know you're about to go out to the track. You know you're going to have yourself a good time. And it's almost like a kid on Christmas. This is, I think, the closest that we can get as grown men to feeling like that Christmas spirit all over again. Because a couple of days before, you just know you're going to be in a magical place surrounded by magical people watching fast race cars go around the track. And yeah, I'm a little jealous of you. I know I'll get my fill in July when we go to Sonoma, but for the time being, I'm pretty jealous of you right now.
Yes, I'm pretty excited. It's been, I wasn't able to make it there last year, had some other obligations on the weeks of Kansas. So I'm pretty excited to get back for the first time in a couple of years. And there's just nothing like going to just racing in person, no matter what kind of racing it is, right? Whether it's local dirt tracks, that's where I grew up. I love going back to those. Whether it's really anything, go watch go-kart track racing, go watch any type of racing you can, anytime in person. Always a lot of fun. But the spectacle of a NASCAR race in person, especially when you get the opportunity to go down on the track before the race, you get to see the cars up close, you get to see the drivers up close, walking through the garage. There's really not many other things like it in sports, and it's a really, really fun time.
Look, I've even been known to hit up those boomers, those go-karts at the mini golf course. I'm over there cheering for kids that they have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. I'm like, go, you little bastard, go fast. And the parents are like, oh, what?
Damn it, 6, I had money on you. What are you doing over there?
Right? And I'm like, come on, man, you got to go. Come on, you got to go better than this. Kids crying. I'm like, get this guy to a track and get him better. I need him better for next week. But No, I don't do that. And nor do I endorse anybody else doing that for that matter. I can just see all the slew of emails now. Rod gets caught for yelling at kids at boomers. I mean, look, I'd be a boomer yelling at kids, but King 10 or 601. Hello, King. Ty Gibbs plus money for a top 10 is a steal. 30 to 1 to win. He's about to make himself some money this weekend. I hope you have other bets other than that one.
It might be the only bet you need, Rod. I like it. Of course, King knows that. Man, it would be pretty special to be there for future Hall of Famer's first NASCAR Cup Series career win, Rod. Would be pretty great. I want to give Marcus a shout out too. He dropped a couple comments in the other stream we accidentally set up before we went live on this one. Marcus, I hope you found your way over here. I had commented in there and told him to, but he wanted to know who everybody's pick for Kansas is. Make sure you go back and listen to our Cup Series pick show from a couple of days ago. We'll give you our picks. He predicts Christopher Bell's going to win at Kansas. 4 poles at Kansas Christopher Bell has. Led 122 of 267 laps here in the fall. So that's Marcus's pick, Rod. I don't think either of us were on Seatbelt this week.
No, and I'm not even going to be on it for the DFS purposes. Look at spoiler alert. Marcus loves him some Christopher Bell. And for the first, for 3 weeks in a row, he was absolutely right. It was fun because Marcus would be like, I predict Christopher Bell is going to win. And he won. I predict Christopher Bell is going to win. And he won again. And and then he won again. So it was like, hey, look at Marcus. You're on to something, buddy. But
sounds like a pretty solid plan to me.
It does sound like a plan. You know what's a solid plan? Getting yourself the SGPN app, because then you will never miss out on another one of our free picks or free podcasts on the network ever again, up to including this show, the big show. You like hockey, there's hockey. You like boxing, there's boxing. You like MMA fights, there's MMA fights. You like UFL, there's UFL. You like horse racing, there's horse racing. Whatever it is that you like, there's probably a show for it on the SGPN network. And the only way to find it, well, the best way to find it anyways, is to download that SGPN app. Find it at your app store today. All right, Cody, like we said, we are at the Kansas Speedway for this AdventHealth 400. Again, I know that we are only focusing on the Cup Series DFS portion of it. I really wish that we could have the time to have everyone have their DFS day in the sand, but it is trucks and it is Xfinity this weekend, or trucks and Cup this weekend. No Xfinity. So yeah,
we got a couple. We got kind of sad 2 weeks off of Xfinity. We get none of them next week is, of course, All-Star race. So it'll be trucks and Cup once again. So a couple of weeks off, which for Connor Zilic, good news. Obviously, he's resting up that back and getting better. But yeah, I'm kind of a little bit sad about missing the Xfinity Series, but back-to-back weeks, the Truck Series is never a bad thing.
Never a bad thing. Yeah, and with no F1 race this weekend, then you kind of need that other series to fill in, but that's all right. We are set for 267 laps around this 1.500 mile paved track for 400.500 miles in the AdventHealth 400. Yeah, Cody, this is one where, mile and a half track, races like a mile and a half track, was a pretty much cookie cutter track when they were naming tracks cookie cutters. So, you'll get some lap leaders in this one, and it's almost, don't want to say it's chalky, but there's a lot of the same names that we're going to be talking about that we were talking about in the betting episode, but only because they're the best ones at this track.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I would like to say mile and a halves aren't cookie cutters, but we went to one last week. We have one this week, and then in 2 weeks is the Coke 600. So a lot of mile and a halves kind of in this stretch right here. But that's the thing about Kansas this week is I think this is a pretty straightforward race. There was a lot of chaos last week at Texas. That track has been a bit unpredictable. There's been some crazy stuff. We've had some races lately where, Talladega obviously was a couple of weeks ago. That's completely unpredictable in many ways. But was even more unpredictable because it was predictable and didn't have the craziness. But anyways, Kansas is just a track where you show up, you go fast, and a lot of the same names kind of go to the top. We touched on a lot of guys in the betting episode, but we're going to double down on quite a few of them this week in the DFS side of things. And sometimes we like to, try to find different guys than we talk about on the betting side of things. But I know some of you only listen to this show. You should listen to both, even if you're only a fantasy player. The betting advice and info can certainly help you out there also. But a lot of these guys I just want to double down on because I'm feeling pretty good about a lot of these picks.
Yeah, one in particular is not going to make my card, and that is King saying that I picked Hocevar to win this Sunday. No.
He was trying to give him out again on the DFS show today, and I was like, back off all the Hocevar love, Rod. Like, let's not oversell it. I know you've fallen in love with him. So I took that off of his side, but Rod definitely was planning to give out Carson Hocevar at $7,400 today. And Underdog might even have him as a better than option for the top 10s, which I'm sure Rod would definitely suggest you do as well.
So as we always do week after week, we give you our favorite high price driver, our favorite mid-tier driver, and our favorite low price driver to fill out your DFS lineups. And then, of course, we close out the show as we always do on this Thursday episode by giving you our favorite underdog picks. And by the way, yes, there are several of those that are set at 10.5, and you only get the better than option on this. So it's essentially a top 10 pick for this particular race. And I don't know if Carson Hocevar was one of them because I did not look for his
He is
name.
one of them, Rod. You can get Carson Hocevar all over on the Underdog. Better than 10.5 at 1.71 times your entry. And to be the top finishing Chevrolet at 8.08 times. That number might be a little low. We probably should have it at a little higher, but that's okay.
I'm not necessarily in love with that one either, but we are in love with our high price drivers for this slate. Cody, I say it's time to start laying out our favorite DFS plays for this race. What do you say?
It's time, Rod. Ryan Blaney, $10,700. I am all aboard the Ryan Blaney train this week. You know, we talked about it Tuesday on the betting episode, all in on him. I really feel like this is his time. And then, I heard some other people. I think it was our buddy Phil, Full Take with Phil. Make sure you check out his podcast. He was talking over there, and he's like, he actually brought up, I love it when we're in sync on things. He brought up the Austin Dillon top 10. He was in on that. Ryan Blaney outright. I texted him. I'm like, let's fucking go. I'm going to be there in person. We're in sync. I'm feeling great about this. But he brought up Ryan Blaney's interview last week on TV. Remember how he didn't take the front row with very few laps left in that and third? And he was just like ripping himself to pieces in that TV interview. Like, I'm just a fucking idiot. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. That was a dumb shit move. Like, just beating himself up. I love it because he is going to use that. He's going to harness that anger and frustration, and he is going to take this car that has been a rocket ship all season. Like, Ryan Blaney has probably had the fastest car this season outside of Kyle Larson, who just in general is always fast, and hasn't been able to capitalize, hasn't gotten the result. But we've seen all of the pieces, everything is in place. He just needs to capitalize on it this week. I think that's what we're going to see. You go back to Miami, 124 laps he led, still managed to finish in 36th place. Rough day, just not able to capitalize on things. But Las Vegas, it was the same thing, right? A bad finish there. We're throwing that stuff out. Talladega, 37th place. I'm throwing that out too because it's Talladega. But the other last three races, Texas, Bristol, and Darlington, top 5 in all of them. Third place finish last week. Led 48 laps at Bristol, which was probably the only 48 laps that Kyle Larson didn't lead. He's looked good. He's been fast lately. Then you think, okay, Las Vegas, the sister track to this, right? Josh Berry wins in a Penske car. Austin Cindric led laps and was fast in a Penske car. Joey Logano looked good in a Penske car. Blaney was fast that day before finishing in almost last place in a Penske car. And then last week, same thing. Berry leading when he spins out. Cindric leads a bunch of laps. Joey wins. Ryan fast at the end with a chance to win. Maybe chooses wrong and finishes in third place. It's all lining up for Ryan Blaney this week. And at 10,700, I talked also on the betting episode about taking him to have the most fastest laps on the day. I think this is going to be a rocket ship of a car. I think if you're listening to Clint Boyer, he's going to say hot rod. I would take the over on Clint Boyer saying hot rod about Ryan Blaney's car. Whatever it's set at, don't care. This is Ryan Blaney's week. I'm all in on number 12. So give me Ryan Blaney near the top of the board, the second most expensive driver on the board besides Mr. Larson at 10,700.
Yeah, I definitely like this pick because, again, Ryan Blaney, one of those guys that he is just continuing. I mean, he's fast every single week. It's just a matter of can he sustain it? Can he not fall into the pits that he's been falling into lately? And if he doesn't, that's a good gamble to take. Marcus is in. Hi, Marcus. Yes,
Marcus.
definitely.
We read your comment earlier from the other stream. Sorry about the mix up there. Again, working through some new stuff with this new streaming platform we're using. But glad you joined us here. We had a little conversation about your comment earlier, so glad to see you made it over to the right place. And yeah, King saying Blaney should have a couple of wins this season. I mean, really, he should. And boy, can you imagine what type of odds you would have got on give me all 4 Penske cars, Rod? The last one to win a race being Ryan Blaney. Austin Cindric's won. Josh Berry's won. Joey Logano's won. Blaney's the one who hasn't won yet. He is fucking due, and he's cashing in this week, baby.
Watch out when he does, too. That is all there is to it. All right. I'm going to give you Denny Hamlin, 10,200, scrolling down a little bit on the list of prices here. And for a simple reason is that Denny Hamlin, I mean, last season was, or last fall rather, was not a really good race for him. He got you 40 points still in that race, did Denny Hamlin in last fall's race. But last spring, 76.10 points, led 71 laps, started 14th, finished 5th, had 23 fastest laps in that race. In the 2023 fall race, Denny Hamlin, 83.7 points, started 14th, finished 2nd, 31 fastest laps, led 63 laps in that one. Denny Hamlin, the highest scoring driver in the spring of 2023 with 80.3 points, started 8th, won that race, 44 fastest laps, 34 laps led. Denny Hamlin, the 3rd best driver in the fall 2022 race at 70 points, consistently getting you somewhere in the 7 times your investment. That's the word I'm looking for, Rod. Here we go. Little bit of getting ahead of myself in that case, but yeah, 7 times your investment is Denny Hamlin on this particular track. I mean, I'm telling you right now, this is one of those tracks last week, right? Denny's been saying this for a while that he's obviously not living up to his own expectations. And does he have fans anymore? He's not living up to anybody that actually does like him still.
He's actually got a lot of fans these days.
I think so now, yeah.
He's becoming popular.
When Denny Hamlin comes full circle, you know that it's time to either get on board or off. But yeah, so Denny Hamlin's fans are starting to feel the pinch too. There's a lot of wringing of the hands of Denny's fans because they know that he's capable of winning at all of these tracks. He's proven that he's winning, capable of winning and capable of dominating. And yet something, the gremlins that are jumping up, that are grabbing him are starting to get on him. And a good way to get out of that is to be good on a track that you've been good at your entire career. And over the last 5 races, Denny Hamlin's been one of the top performing fantasy drivers on the track. So I'm going back to him this week because, again, he's not even the most expensive. Like, that's the thing about it. He's far from the most expensive, and honestly, he should be. It's Kyle Larson, 11,000, Blaney at 10,700, Byron at 10,500, and then Denny at 10,200. So, I mean, you're getting what, an $800, $900 discount on Denny Hamlin, other than Kyle Larson, because Kyle Larson may do what he does, but he's not going to finish well. We know this, right? We talked about some of the bad, rough finishes for Kyle Larson over the last few weeks. So, yeah, I mean, look, to me, this is a Denny Hamlin week. I know Kyle Larson's been dominating just as much as Denny Hamlin has on this track, but I think this is a Hamlin week. So give me Hamlin at 10-2.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. Denny, and if you look at what he's done at this track in particular, been really, really good. Coming off a rough week at Texas, obviously, the engine blowing after they make the bad pit call that was supposed to send him to pit road, that didn't send him to pit road, whatever. Ended up not mattering anyways, but he's going to bounce back at a track that he's really, really good at. Ross Sieg checking in. Rod, wants thoughts on legacy cars? Better stick around because we've got some thoughts on the legacy cars. Cousin Danny is back again today as well. You got to bet on the whole team, not just the 12 car. The 12 team is whack. Whack would be one way to do it. And I did bet on him and Cindric to win. Leaving Joey Logano as the liability, which you never know. But back-to-back weeks for Joey would be something. And Boji Joe checking in with Alex Bowman. Hey, Boji Joe, good to see you. We're back, able to stream to the X once again, finally. We're gonna talk about Mr. Bowman here in a bit.
Cody has teased very properly because we will do all of that when we come back. But I first want to tell you about the Circa Ultimate Fantasy Football Giveaway. Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas is giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like a VIPs for the entirety of your stay. The race winner is going to get a 2-night stay at the Circa Resort and Casino for their entire 12-person league. That's 6 double king rooms for those of you who are counting. Plus, you can hold your draft at a cabana at Stadium Swim with a $5,000 food and beverage credit. Whew, I'm telling you, let me join your league now, because when you win this, I want to go with you. I want the first invite. Plus, you get a welcome party at Legacy Club for the league and a reservation at the world's largest sportsbook with $500 beverage and credit food for $500 beverage credit for the league. You get 2-hour open bar package for the league at the Overhang Bar. Whew, there's so much going on. I can't even believe how much you get for this contest. And guess what? It's completely free to enter, so make sure you get there. Contest is from May 5th to June the 30th. You want to enter? That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. Let me tell you about Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. There are no usage fees. There are no minimums, and you can use it anywhere that you can use a normal debit card, because that's exactly what it is. And the best part about it is that your transactions are not going to be denied. You get no minimums, no usage fees, earn cash back rewards, 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN. Deposit $25 and Edge Boost is going to match that deposit. That edgeboost.bet promo code SGPN. I'll tell you officially about our friends over at Underdog. It's time for our Underdog Pick'ems. We're going to give them to you after our favorite DFS plays for sure. Underdog just launched their new game, Ladders. You can win up to 500 times watching your favorite players climb the ladder. Sign up in the meantime with our promo code RACESGPN. Claim that special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code RACESGPN.
I feel like we should hurry up and trademark the car lift before Underdog starts giving out the car lifts. Well, actually, we love Underdog. Great partners. They can. Here you go, Underdog. Official invitation. Put out the car lifts. Give us the racing version of the ladders for Underdog, please.
So long as they say the Underdog car lifts presented by the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
That's right.
I
good
will
with
take
that. Lynn checking in and says, dopest fantasy league ever if you win that. Can you imagine, like he says, going down in the annals, the man who brought us fantasy heaven, friends would tell their grandchildren in 20 years. You'd be telling that story until the day you die about how Lynn won this great contest, took the whole fantasy league to Vegas. You get a draft from Stadium Swim. Like, that already looks like probably one of the coolest places on the planet. But to do your fantasy draft there, I heard Sean and Ryan talking about they would MC the first round if it's an SGPN listener that does it. So, oh, buddy, that would be the ultimate. And like, you'd have that to hold over your friends forever. Like, you want something, like, hey, get up and give me a beer, and he's like, no, and you're like, remember that time I took you to Vegas? Like, go get a fucking beer for me, dude. Like, geez, you would just be like, you know, like your wife holds all those things against you. You could hold that against all your friends.
You know, and I don't know if you've ever watched the show The League, but when they go do their Vegas draft and like Chad Ochocinco jumps in and like all those guys and man, that would be so fantastic. I'd love to do that.
Hell yeah.
All right. Here we go. We are going to give you our favorite mid-price drivers now for this slate as we try to save you a little bit of money to fit those high-price drivers in.
We will. Bo Joe once again checking in and saying, Rod, he wants you to give him 1,000 words why you should not bet AJ Allmendinger this weekend. Rod will actually give you words, not 1,000. He kept it under. Well, it might be 1,000. I don't know. About why you should bet AJ Allmendinger a couple days ago. So make sure you go back and check that out. I talked about on that show, Rod, Mr. Joshua Berry. I'm going to bring him back up again today. 7,200. We talked about him last week on this show. You gave out the worst than an Underdog. Great play by you, right? Because obviously it hits. But I mentioned on there, I wasn't sold. I got to see more. Sure, he went out. It was fast at Vegas. Won. Was it a fluke? I think we saw last week that it wasn't a fluke. He put that 21 in position. It was a fast car. We just got done talking about the Penske speed, all the speed. Crazy. Because a year ago, going into Kansas, we were talking about how bad the Fords were. They hadn't won. I don't think they'd won in any of the series yet at this point in time, and it was like, oh my God, what's going on? Then obviously Buescher loses this race by the closest margin in victory and a victory in history, and that conversation flipped, and Fords are fine the rest of the season, but they've started the season with the speed, and Barry in that Wood Brothers car, they've got it. They've hit on something. Maybe he's better than I was giving him credit for, but what we saw in Vegas, obviously, he goes out and wins that race and leads some laps and looks good. But then to come back and do it again last week at Texas, I get it, right? He made a mistake. The car stepped out from under him. I'm not going to say that won't happen this week because it happened to Kyle Busch in the fall, but much less likely to happen at Kansas than at a place like Texas that's got those weird, tricky bumps and stuff. Kansas is just much more straightforward and just bring your speed and you can go out there and lead. And 7,200 for Barry when he's been turning in. And that's the thing is, like, if you look at the DFS days, really they've not been good. 1 point last week. Talladega was minus 1.7. Bristol was 31.8, but minus 4.7 at Darlington, 5.8 the week before. Like, not really been a bunch of good weeks, but he's got the ability to do good. 63.6 a couple weeks ago at Vegas, obviously. 40.9 at Phoenix, where he's had those solid days. If he can get to the end, which he didn't do last week and a couple other times, but use that speed that he has, get to the end. At 7,200, he could be a great play because he's got the upside of, if he can get to the lead, he can obviously run up there, lead laps, and look good. And I think he can get you a solid finish this week as well. I believe I gave him out as a top 5 bet, even on the betting episode. So, yeah, I'm aboard this Josh Berry train, Rod. It's a little bit scary. I'm new here. I'm still trying to get to know everybody on this, but checking out the Josh Berry Express at 7,200, it's just too good to pass up on.
I saved you a seat because I figured at some point you would jump back on and so the people that were trying to get on, and I was like, no, I'm waiting on a friend. After a while, they were like, is your friend ever going to show up? And I was like, yeah, he'll get here. So I'm glad that they can see finally that you're on. So I like this as well. Boji Joe is saying, go ahead.
Well, let's go with Boji Joe. Yeah.
All right.
Do you remember when ESPN came out in the early 80s with Australian rules football? That was all you could watch in the morning. Wants to know if that's your generation too.
100%. And I still watch the Aussie rules football because that is one of, and I remember watching it back then thinking how cool it was. And now I'm watching it again thinking I was right when I was 12. So this is amazing.
Wow, you were 12 in the 80s. I was not born till the 90s, but that's okay. Cousin Danny checking in. It's Ford week. I can feel it in my bones. I am so high on Ford this week. I know King. I know our guy Ty drives a Toyota. Toyotas are gonna be fine too. But man, I got some good feelings on Ford. It's a clean sweep for me in DFS when it comes to Ford. Your next guy is a Ford. 2 of my 3 underdog plays are Fords. All aboard the Blue Ovals this week.
Yeah, and to think I drive a Chevy in real life, so it's kind of a weird juxtaposition for me.
We have a couple of Dodges in this house, but that's all right.
Yeah, that's all right.
They're returning to the Truck Series next year.
Saying Tricky Bumps should be your show's logo. That would be a fantastic logo. All right. Somebody that did navigate the Tricky Bumps was Ryan Preece. And Ryan Preece is going to be my underdog or my mid-tier driver today at $7,100 for young Ryan Preece. I mean, he's only averaging, or he is averaging 31.7 fantasy points per race this season, which actually, when you consider some of the other guys that are below him, like, and above him, I'm going to talk about one of the guys that's actually above him. I mean, we're talking in the top 10 territory for Ryan Preece as far as fantasy points per race this season, which is incredible, thinking, your teammates with Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher who get all of the headlines, and here you are just sneakily outdoing both of them in terms of fantasy points per race this season. So like I said, 31.7 fantasy points per race. But on this track in particular, last year in the fall, not very good. He got you 18 points. But again, we talked about the last years of Ryan Preece's time on the track, right? That wasn't a team that was really anywhere near put together. However, he did turn around and get you 35 points in the spring. That was the 15th best output for a fantasy racer that particular day. And then, 16th place in 2023 in the fall. Okay. But in the spring, he got you, so it was then, and then 35 points. But look, Ryan Preece can come out and get you a 35-point day. And for me, when you're getting me 31.7 fantasy points on a $7,000 budget, like that is, that already screams to me, you are a solid investment. And if I can get that out of a $7,000 last week, he got you 17, which was okay. But the week before that, 49, 36. He got you 54 at Darlington, 57 the week before, 50, 68. Those are some pretty monster numbers. It is sandwiched by a -5 at the Goodyear 400, but I mean, again, we know stuff like that happens every
Lady
once
in
in a
Black
while.
will get you sometimes, Rob.
She puts that stripe on you and you have no say so in it. So, yeah, I mean, when you're flirting around 50 points for a couple of the last few weeks, I like that. And I'm going to take a chance on you, especially I know that I can get a good performance out of you this week in Kansas. It's going to be Ryan Priest, $7,100.
Yeah, if Ryan Priest keeps performing this well, Rod, they're going to rename it RFP, Roush Fenway Priest. And King saying, speaking of Brad K, he should just turn in the keys and sweep the shop floors at this point. Rod's been trying to retire Kozlowski for multiple years. So I'm sure that's the common ground that you guys can finally bond on, Rod.
No one listens. I try to tell people. People have been telling me, though, like I said, it's fair. People tell me for years that I should retire and walk away from the microphone. And so I don't listen to them either. I get it, Brad. We're simpatico.
All right, Rod, let's save some money with some of these lower tier guys. I'm going to go back to one of our favorites. There's actually, just want to shout out like the bottom group this week. There's a lot of guys you could go with. You got Ty Dillon at 5,100. I'm all in on him again. I almost put him as my play, but he's been on there multiple weeks. I want to talk about somebody else. Riley Herbst is a little sneaky at 5,400. The guy you're going to talk about, I like. Gilly at 5,900. Stenhouse is like 18th in the points, 6,000. AJ Allmendinger at 61. Austin Dillon at 63. Eric Jones at 64. There is a lot of good options down here, but I settled on Mr. Zane Smith, $5,800. Look, he's been solid. He's done really well. And mile and a half, he's been good. 10th place here in the fall when they came back. Didn't do good here in the spring, but that was before he kind of figured things out in the Cup Series. 10th place run here as kind of a lame duck on his way out at Spire already at that point in time. 17th last week at Texas. You like that. 23rd at Vegas after starting 9th. So had the speed, started well. Didn't get the result you wanted, but 11th place at Miami you'll take. 12th place at Darlington, some of the other intermediates we've been to this season. Zane Smith, guy we talked about, top finishing Ford. Top 10 bet, I believe it was, on him over in the Cup Series pick show as well. But Zane Smith just a guy that we can kind of continue to come back to, and 5,800 is so cheap for a guy that just continues to provide good, solid days for you.
Yeah, and for me, the fact of the matter is, I looked at Todd Gilliland. Spoiler alert, I was really, really tempted to take Todd Gilliland, and I wouldn't blame you if you did. So Boji Joe loves Todd in the 38, Zane in the 38. See a pattern, kids. Maybe that, except I don't see the host of our pattern. I don't see that one in there. Maybe host of our in the 38. Maybe I like him then. I don't know. But yeah, no, I like that. And I do like Gilliland too. So honorable mention to Gilliland. But yeah, this lower stack of guys, especially on this particular track, there's some hidden gems in there. And if you can unlock the right one, and maybe even put a couple of these guys in different lineups, you may get a better result too. Boji Joe
wants to know what happened to Justin Haley. I think he noticed that I skipped right over his name when I was talking about all those guys. Justin Haley, I don't know. I've not liked it lately. Then you had the Childers thing blow up so fast in his face. I don't know. We've seen the talent there. We've seen him get the most out of Rick Ware cars here in the past. So I'm sure he'll be fine, but just don't love it right now. And then King was talking about any possibility of Jesse Love. Also skipped over his name. Has a decent top 20-ish run. I will say, you kind of made a case for him last week. He was in the 62, the Beard car, probably RCR prepped, but this is an actual RCR car this week. I don't know. This bigger, faster track is probably better for him than a place like Bristol where he's just trying to stay out of the way. We'll see. I don't know. I just... so early in these guys' careers, you rarely see really good runs. And even a guy like Zilich, he was like, okay, yes, but because of the road course talent, that's kind of different in how you treat it. And he comes out and qualifies well, but then doesn't even get the result because things just go wrong in a general sense early in these guys' careers. So it's a little tough to, I think, get on the Love train this week for the Cup Series.
I'm with you on that one too. And then of course, as far as Justin Haley is concerned, I don't know. I stopped drinking milk, so I don't know if he's on a milk carton or not. And we'll have to put a lookout for him as well.
Has he even been bad lately? I don't know. He's just been so far off my radar. I don't think he's done much of anything.
It's not that it's been bad. I just don't think it's necessarily been something we can bank on week after week. Except for the guy I'm about to bring up, you can bank on week after week after week, and that is John Hunter Nemechek, $5,700 for what I believe is probably the value of all values this particular week. I don't know what the legacy. Somebody asked earlier about what's up with legacy. Well, here's your legacy update. They're actually not bad this season.
That was Ryan's cousin, Ross Sieg.
Oh, yeah. That's right. We had the cousin on here. No, John Hunter Nemechek in the spring of 2024 in this very race last year, it was 46.45 fantasy points. He started 29th, finished 13th, one fast lap. He didn't lead anything, but boy, he was the eighth best driver that day in terms of fantasy points scored. And I got to believe that his price was not nearly what it was supposed to be, or an eighth place driver. So you probably got a gigantic value that day. $5,700 for him this go around. John Hunter Nemechek. I talked about how surprising it was that Ryan Preece was somewhere near the top 10. John Hunter Nemechek right there above him, actually, at 31.9 fantasy points per race this season. Last week, he got you 56. The week before that at Talladega, he got dagged and got you 9 points. But the week before that at Bristol, 35. He's gotten you 33 points in Las Vegas, which, remember, we talked about the fact that Vegas is one of those races that you want to pay attention to. So he finished 20th, and that one started 30th. Got you 33 points there. The week before that, 51, 31, 48, 53, 47 in the duels. Look, man, this Legacy Motor Club, they're not out there jockeying for wins, but they sure as hell are jockeying for top 10s, which is what you like, especially when they're not qualifying nearly as well as you want them to be. On this track, in particular for John Hunter Nemechek, he has got 4 career starts in the Cup Series, average start of 30.5, average finish of 19.8. Last fall, all right, he only got you 1 place differential point and got you, he started 31st and finished 30th, so not a really good DFS day. But before that, started 29th, finished 13th. We talked about that big day there, right? And then in the 2020 race in the fall, started 32nd, finished 17th. In the spring race in 2020, started 30th, finished 19th. I mean, and those are in the 38, right? That's in the 38 car that he did that in. So he's in a little bit better equipment there. So notice the pattern, Boji Joe. I definitely like the fact that John Hunter Nemechek and Eric Jones, for that matter, both of them are good DFS options week after week. And so this week, I'm calling my shot on John Hunter.
Yeah, I completely agree on this. The legacy cars have looked good this year. I have no problem playing John Hunter Nemechek. Eric Jones, I think, is also a good option. I think there's a lot of, like I mentioned, kind of setting this up, a lot of good options down in this range. But yeah, John Hunter's been doing pretty well. I did want to go back to the Justin Haley thing. 15th last week, 10th at Miami, 14th at Vegas. Maybe he is worth a little bit of a look. Obviously, had Childers with him for those races. Not Texas, I guess. So still worked out pretty good for him. So maybe he's a little bit of a good play as well. Cousin Danny Rod was wanting to know where you can play the daily fantasy game we're talking about. I guess we don't talk about that part of it much, but what we've been talking about is DraftKings, just their DraftKings fantasy game. They've got a sports book, but they've also got their fantasy game, which is pretty simple. It's and they've got a variety of contests. I mean, from free contests to you can pay thousands of dollars to enter stuff if you want to. And we do a little $5 game every week. We post it over in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. If you want to get in over there, you can get in on the game with us. And it's just people from the Discord. Everybody throws $5 in, basically, kind of a winner-take-all thing. But it's a salary cap, and that's why we talk about the prices, right? So you get, it's $50,000 for 6 drivers. You have to put 6 drivers in there, and they range all the way from Kyle Larson at $11,000 this week to Cody Ware at $4,800 this week. The prices change and vary each and every single week. You get points for finishing position. You get points for and against, like moving forward or moving back. So, if you start dead last and finish first, you get points for each car you pass. If you start first, finish dead last, you lose points for each car you pass, both ways. There's points awarded for every lap led. There's points awarded for every fast lap run. So yeah, it's pretty fucking fun. And then, of course, Underdog is what we're about to talk about. Make sure you sign up with promo code RACESGPN after you download the Underdog Fantasy app. And that one's, so the other one, the DraftKings, you're playing again in contests against people, right? So you have to have a better lineup than the other people, or, they pay out so many top finishing positions or whatever, depending. Each contest is completely different. So you have to check rules and all that. But with Underdog, you're just playing against yourself. Finishing positions are projected, which we'll talk about. You're 10.5 on a driver or 5.5. You just pick, do they finish better or worse? The more in that one, you play a minimum of 2, right? So if you like Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney, you play those 2 guys, that's fine. You get, I think it's 3 times your entry fee. The more you add in, you can get hundreds of times your entry fee, and assuming that you hit all 6 or 8 picks that you get. So pretty fucking fun, and that's why we like talking about fantasy on this.
We sure as hell do. Speaking of which, get out your pen and paper. We're going to go over our DFS plays for this particular race. Cody started you out with Denny Hamlin at 10,700 as his high-priced driver. Cody started you off with Ryan Blaney as his high-priced driver at 10,700. I gave you Denny Hamlin at 10,200 as my high-priced driver. Cody jumped down to Josh Berry at $7,200 for his mid-tier driver. I gave you Ryan Preece at $7,100 as my mid-tier driver. Cody said that Zane Smith at $5,800 was his low-price driver, and I gave you John Hunter Nemechek at $5,700 to be my low-price driver. We will be back with our favorite plays for the underdog portion of this, but allow me first to tell you about our friends over at Rhythm. Let's get you Rhythm, shall we? All right, Rhythm is your home for AI-backed props and picks. You can dominate the NBA playoffs and MLB prop market with Rhythm. Building your own model is simple and easy. Rhythm knows you'll love it. That's why they included a 7-day free trial. I'm looking at trying to build myself models on how many rushing yards Derrick Henry is going to get this season. So I'm hot in the lab, working with Rhythm to try to get me a good number that I like and that I can play. Plus, Rhythm has amazing deals going on now. 25% off of a monthly subscription with promo code SGPN25 and a 50% off annual subscription with promo code SGPN50. That's RITHMM promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. Get your 7-day free trial, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We are also brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA playoffs. Plus, there's props for every single game. And for the true degens, the people that write this don't read it out loud. That's right. For the true degens, the MyBookie money bag. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. Plus, you get easy deposit and lightning fast payout using crypto. I love me some esports. Call of Duty starting to wrap up their Major 3 tournament is coming soon. They're qualifying for it right now. Games start tomorrow, and you can find the Los Angeles Guerrillas mate as the underdogs in this match against the Minnesota Rocker. I don't know why they're underdogs. Guerrillas 8 has just been killing everything. So plus 164 for Los Angeles Guerrillas mate to win against the Minnesota Rockers. That's Call of Duty League. That's happening at 4:30 Pacific tomorrow. Go find those odds at mybookie.ag. With the promo code SGPN, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN.
All right, Rod, 2 more quick questions before we get into the underdog picks. Ross was wondering, what about the one car? Had a good day last week. He also won here at Kansas in the fall. I know you talked a little bit about him on the betting episode. You do like him this week, so didn't make the DFS cut. But again, doesn't mean we don't like him. It's one of those deals where if we talk about him on the betting side of things, we're also going to like him in the fantasy world. I wish we had time to go through every driver in the field, but just we don't have time for that. So, and then Boji Joe was also saying, have we ripped this car yet? Texas was fun. Do you think Kansas will be a track of position, race, or fuel mileage? Texas has kind of been known for a while as really a boring track or a track that's had trouble producing races. I listened to Dale Jr. this week, and he was talking about how they just need to leave it alone. It's getting closer. It just needs to wear out a little more, and I think he's right there. Kansas does not have that problem. Kansas is the most exciting track on the circuit. This car at 1.5 miles, with the exclusion of Texas, has produced really great racing. We saw it at Las Vegas earlier this year. Kansas has produced not only great finishes, which we saw last year with the closest finish in NASCAR history, Buescher and Larson going at it at the end, but it also has produced good racing throughout the day. There's 5-6 lanes you can race at here. You can move around the track, find different spots. You can pass. This is going to be a really, really good race this weekend. So I am very excited to be there in person to watch it, of course. But yeah, I think we're in for a very good one this week.
Yes, and definitely be keeping up with the socials. Keep up with the NASCAR Gambling Podcast on Twitter and in the Discord, because you're going to get a front row seat to all of Cody's adventures over there in the track. All right, let us move on to the Underdog Fantasy Picks for the AdventHealth 400. The premise is simple. First, you download the app. That's for one. So download the Underdog. Then you set up an account. Then you sign up with the promo code RACESGPN to get all kinds of goodies. Then you go to that little racing tab, and you'll see a bunch of drivers and their finishing projections, wherever that may be. All you got to do is decide whether or not they're going to finish better than or worse than that finishing projection, stack up the multiplier, and then cash out at the end of the day. And we are always here week after week to help you, kind of give you a few of them. If you like them, if you don't, that's fine. You can pick your own, but these are the ones that we like, and these are the ones that we'll be rolling out this week as well. So Cody, who's the first driver on our Underdog Picks roster here?
Yeah, well, Truck Series is not up on Underdog just yet, but they do offer it there. And when they do, James, play Corey Heim. That's right. Talked about him yesterday on the betting episode for the Truck Series. Make sure you go back and listen to that, but I think it's going to be Heim time domination this week. All right, Rod, they're giving us Alex Bowman better than 11.5. There's been 6 next-gen races here. Bowman's raced in 5 of them. He was injured in one of the 23 races. But in those 5 races, do you know how many times he has finished worse than 11.5?
I'm going to say 0.
You would be absolutely correct. He is 5 for 5, finishing better than 11.5 at Kansas Speedway in the next-gen era. That includes a race where he led 107 laps in September of 22, where he finished in 4th place. Even pre-next-gen era, 11th place here in 2021, had a horrible day in May of 21 where he finished 18th. But before that, 3rd, 8th, 11th, 2nd, 9th, then an 18th in there, 7th. That's all of his Hendrick Motorsports starts here. They are all really good. 14 career starts here, rather, in Hendrick. Only 2 finishes worse than 11th, and they're giving us 11.5 as the projection. This makes no sense. Then going into Texas last week, he was on a 7-race streak of finishing in the top 10 at 1.5-mile tracks. Things went bad at Texas. He had a bad day. He got in a wreck. Things happen, right? That's just stuff you can't really account for. But he's been great at 1.5 miles, and he's been really great at Kansas. I get why I guess you have to put it this low, because it's Alex Bowman, and how much higher could you possibly put the number, I guess. But the top 10 machine that is Bowman at Kansas at 1.5 miles, and just in a general sense almost every single week, all he has to do here is finish top 11. Give me Alex Bowman better than 11.5.
This is definitely the one that you need to rush now, because their Underdog does update their projections. So, they will pull them down and they will put them back up again. So this is one where you need to lock this in now, because if they catch on to it, then you're not going to see this again, and you're going to need to get there. So I'm with you on this one. This one probably won't change, and that's fine, because I'm going to take Larson. His projection is set at 4.5. I'm going to take the better than on this one. And this one you do, and you kind of hold your breath a little bit, because Larson on this track, we didn't talk about him in the betting episode, other than to say, that obviously he's going to be good, but his numbers just never really lent us to take anything on him. But this is a great opportunity, if you believe this is a Larson week, to get in, because 4.5, if you think Larson's going to be good, he's definitely going to be better than 4.5. He's going to be in the top 3. He may even win this race. Kyle Larson's finishes, he is actually 2nd overall in the Kansas NASCAR Next Gen Average Finishes Heat Chart, according to our friends over at iFantasy Race. And again, if you have not gone to check them out, guys, that is the Bible of everything you need to know about what's going on here. So you don't need us if you have them, but please stick around, because we still add a little bit of value to it. But his average finishes here: 2022 in the spring, 2nd, 2022 in the fall, 8th, 2023 in the spring, 2nd, 2023 in the fall, 4th, 1st in 2024 in the spring, and then he had a bad day. That one bad day that he had in the fall of 2024 where he finished 26th. But his average finish here is 7.2. But again, he is 3 of 5 in finishing inside. I'm sorry, 4 of 6 finishing inside of the top 4 at this particular race. in this track. So, I mean, again, if I don't want to keep using the same thing, but yeah, if you do it a lot, you're probably going to do it again. And for Kyle Larson, we know that he's fast and he's going to be fast every single week. It's just can he stay out of his way and get the finishes that you want out of him? So give me Kyle Larson better than 4.5.
Yeah, that's always the question is, does he not hurt himself? And he's been really good here, including winning this race last spring. So pretty hard to fade Mr. Larson. Another guy that's kind of hard to fade, Chris Buescher, better than 11.5. It's the same thing as Bowman. Look, these guys are guys we constantly come back to and bet on top 10s at just a little bit of plus money. Now you get a top 11 here for the fantasy aspect of things. I think it's too good to pass up on. Buescher was fast last week. Sure, he finished in 18th place. Doesn't look like a great day, but he had a fast car. He was competing, would have had a shot at the win, blew that tire, got saved by the carcass falling off and causing the yellow, but still it ruined his day and what was a very good day, but he had the speed. That's what you're looking for. Intermediate at Darlington, 6th place finish. Another good day there. Intermediate mile and a half at Miami. Good day, 6th place finish. Las Vegas, 13th, a little bit worse than this, but still a strong day for him. He's been good at intermediates. Last year in the 2 races here, obviously, 2nd place here in the fall, in the closest victory in history, or in the spring rather, and then 11th place in the fall when he came back. Both of those better than 11.5. Sometimes, again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher to finish better than. These are just guys that get it done more times than they don't. That's why we continue to go back to these wells. Give me Chris Buescher better than 11.5.
Absolutely love it. Again, these are the 2 RFK drivers that are doing well for the team. Weird that the owner is not, but I'm sorry. No, he is, right? RFP. So we're already in this. We know where we're at right now. Now listen, I love this one because again, I think his teammates can be fast as well. And Chris Buescher, just one of those guys that's sort of right there with you at the end of the race. So I like it. All right. I'm going to read off some finishes, and then I would like you to identify the driver. In the spring of 2022, 30th. In the fall of 2022, 35th. In the spring of 2023, 9th. In the fall of 2024, or 3, 1st place. And then in 2024, 20th in the spring, 25th in the fall. If you correctly said it was Tyler Reddick, kudos to you. Not a lot of people are going to guess Tyler Reddick for that stat line that I read out, because Tyler Reddick, you usually think one of the fastest guys in the entire field, one of the fastest guys. He'll be competing for a win. He's always good at mile and a half. He's always good everywhere. Something's not right in Kansas. He's only finished better than this finishing projection of 6.5 that Underdog is giving us once in the 4 or in the next gen races that have been on this track. It's a weird stat, but it is true. And he hasn't even really had that great of a finish anyways, right? 30th, 35th, 20th, 25th, outside of the 2023 season where he had that 9th place and 1st place finish. Like, it has been highly unremarkable. So I'm just going to chalk it up to the fact that something about this track does not agree with Tyler Reddick, and we'll roll with that. And 6.5, if we are already putting guys like Larson and Hamlin and, Buescher maybe, or, those kinds of guys up there, Blaney, right? If you're putting Ty Gibbs up there, if you're putting, Carson Hocevar up there, like all those spots are filling up. Christopher Bell, even, I suppose, if you want to put them up there, all those spots are filling up. And to get 6th, you're going to have to beat a lot of fast cars on this track in particular. And you can't do that when you're finishing 30th. You can't beat guys like Hamlin, Larson, Bowman, Chastain, Elliott, Byron, Bell, Blaney, and even Bubba if you can't get yourself into the top 6 consistently. So give me Tyler Reddick worse than 6.5 this week.
Yeah, it's crazy because you think of Kansas and you're like, oh, 23-11 track, like this is where they shine. It's great. It's wonderful because Kurt Busch won here, and then Bubba Wallace won here, and then Tyler Reddick won here, all in 23-11 cars. But outside of that, Bubba's finishes are a little skewed, like running 4th. I think it was 2 falls ago when he hit, or maybe that was this past fall, hit the wall, blew a tire. But still, like, the results have not been there for the 23-11 guys. And I was going to probably be on Reddick this week. And then I started looking and I'm like, ooh, it's hard to be. He's one of the favorites because you think Kansas, you think 23-11, but you kind of look at it and it's not really there. And Could he come out and be really fast this week? I don't think that would be surprising to anybody. Does he get it to the end? That's the part he struggled with, right? And he certainly could do it, but patterns, Bojo Joe, that's what you keep talking about, what you keep bringing up. The patterns show that he's not going to finish well. So I have to agree with you, even though my heart doesn't like to go against Mr. Reddick. And I think he's running another beautiful Jordan scheme this weekend. Like, you love to see that car and it's going to look great, but it's not finished well here lately. And I think that, again, you have to ride with that pattern of it not happening.
That's the crazy thing about what we do, right? I mean, we as NASCAR prognosticators look at these stats and we look at these numbers, and at some point we're supposed to say, I'm trusting the numbers. And then, some people come on there with, well, there's no way. I mean, he looks way better than that. And then you're like, okay, but what about this makes you feel comfortable? Well, he's just been fast, but the numbers say he's not. And then, well, no, he's okay.
Right. You're setting up the opposite argument with my next pick, Rod. Stop.
Do it. Hit
because, here's a guy who's looked fat. No, he's actually started to get the finishes. Ryan Blaney, going back to it. Talked about him in the betting episode. I love him this week. Talked about him in the DraftKings side of things earlier in the show as a DFS play for that. But Underdog Fantasy's got him at 5.5. I love it. And look, we already really covered everything with him earlier, but 3 of the last 4 races, and if you toss away Talladega, which you should because it's a super speedway, then the last 3 races in a row, he's been inside of the top 5. He's found that speed. He's now pissed off at himself, that's the best thing. Like, he's not just pissed off at the world. He's not pissed off at somebody else. Like, he's just pissed off at himself. He's waking up in the morning. He's looking Ryan Blaney in the mirror, and he's saying, you motherfucker, you better get this done. That's the guy I want to back this week. Oh, I'm so excited for it. Give me Ryan Blaney. I don't have much else to say. I've said it all. Go back and listen to the betting episode. Rewind and listen to me talk about him a few minutes ago for the DFS DraftKings side of things. I fucking love Ryan Blaney this weekend. And doesn't have to win here, doesn't have to lead a bunch of laps, doesn't have to get you fast lap points. All he has to do at the end of the day is find himself in the top 5. I think that Ryan Blaney can do that. And I love his better than at 5.5. It's just, I'm all aboard the Ryan Blaney train this week, Rod. And this is a train, the Josh Berry train feels a little uneasy for me, but the Ryan Blaney train, I'm very comfortable on.
Yeah, I like I said, I can't argue with you there. When you got one of those guys that are super pissed off at themselves and they're good, right? I mean, there's drivers that are pissed off at themselves, but they're like, okay, you're pissed off, but you're always pissed off at yourself because you're not really all that good. But that's not Ryan Blaney. He's definitely one of the drivers that he's gonna rise to the occasion, especially on a track where he's comfortable. So I like it. All right, so all that stuff, numbers never matter. Trust the science, Rod. That's what I'm doing today. Thank you, Boji Joe, on AJ Allmendinger, because my spirit driver, one of those guys that you gotta suspend disbelief sometimes. They're giving him a finishing projection of 10.5, and you gotta either take the better than or don't take it at all. Fine, I will take the better than on an AJ Allmendinger top 10 already this season. We took a look at what we were talking about earlier with the mile and a half, the most comparable tracks to this one. Las Vegas just recently, he finished in 8th, followed it up with a 7th place at Miami, right? So he's got 2 solid mile and a half finishes in Las Vegas and Miami, and those are both top 10s already. This track in particular, all right, fine. This is where I am not trusting the science because he has only got 2 finishes in the next gen era, both of them not better than 10.5. One was 14th in the spring of 2023, and then 30th in the fall, the following fall. But again, we started to see these College cars just run the race and just not try to get caught up in other people's nonsense, not try to insert themselves into conversations that shouldn't be inserted into, just literally going out there and running a race that is clean, that is respectable, that they just want to log laps. We talked about Ty Dillon a lot this season already as far as fantasy is concerned and even top 10 finishes are concerned. So it's a matter of, I think we're starting to see just a respectable year, and the finishes, they're not always there, right? AJ's only got 3 top 10 finishes so far this season, so he's not burning down the house. But again, it's just AJ's there when he needs to be. I think this week in particular, we can count on him for another top 10 finish. So give me AJ Allmendinger better than 10.5.
Yeah, no arguments for me on this one. You hit all the points correctly. And these are the fun ones, right? You get to toss him in there, and he really brings your stats up, right? Because it's better than, you can only take the better than side, but it's better than, and it also increases your multiplier by 3.6 points. So brings that up a lot. Also, Underdog Fantasy, like you already signed up, you use the promo code RACESGPN, you got your deposit match, all that. They keep coming back and giving you more stuff. Like there's a 25% deposit bonus right now. It's good for the next 12 hours, 56 minutes, and 53 seconds. So you can use that. Then I just used a 60% profit boost. So if you put these 6 picks we just gave out, Rod, you don't have to play against anybody else. You're only playing out against yourself. You put them in a lineup. If you want to play all 6 of them, it'd be 126 times your entry fee. But I used a 60% promotional boost, right? So now it's 201 times my entry fee. $10. You win 10, 12. You could win $2,010 if you get these 6 picks right. I'm feeling pretty good about this. I just played these. But that's the great thing about Underdog Fantasy. You don't have to go beat a bunch of other people. You're just playing against yourself. There's also the flex options, right? So you can you do the flex option, and if you get all 6 correct, it's 143 times your entry. If you only get 5, it's still 14 times your entry. If you get 4, it's still 1. You're getting more than your money back. So, man, Underdog Fantasy, it's a lot of fun. It's a great different way to play, right? We love the DFS part of things with DraftKings, but Underdog it's a really exciting, fun way to get in on the action. And again, legal in a lot of states because it is a fantasy game. So if you are in a gambling, a state where gambling isn't legal, this is a great alternative on the fantasy side of things.
It is indeed, especially on, states like California, get off your ass. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I love Underdog. Definitely love the opportunity to continue to play. So, all right, get out your pen and paper. We're going to go over our Underdog plays for this race. Cody started you off with Alex Bowman. Better than 11.5. I said Kyle Larson, better than 4.5. Cody gave you Chris Buescher, better than 11.5. I turned to Tyler Reddick for a worse than 6.5. Cody gave you Ryan Blaney better than 5.5, and I said AJ Allmendinger would finish better than 10.5. For the AdventHealth 400 from the Kansas Speedway in Cody's backyard. Cody's getting there by delivery drone.
Yeah, Bojo wants to know how am I getting there by train because I just brought up train like 100 times. I am actually riding the Ryan Blaney Express all the way to Kansas Speedway, and then I'm going to ride the Underdog Express home when we hit this. Hopefully, I don't go blow it all at the
casino right there.
Casino off of turn 3 there, because if I hit this, James, we might be stopping at the casino on the way home. But yeah, pretty fucking excited. It's going to be a fun weekend. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel, NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Just type that in, subscribe to the channel there, click on the little bell. I'm going to try and get a bunch of videos out from the track this weekend. I'll be in the garage area. I'll be on the grid before the race. Might even pop on, try to do a little something live like that before the race. So going to be a ton of fun. So stay tuned to that. Stay tuned to my X at Husker_Zeeb. Stay tuned to the show's X at NASCAR Gambling, NASCAR Gambling Podcast on Facebook. I'm going to be posting to all those places. sg.pn/Discord. Get in over there. I'll be posting in there, of course, as well. So going to be a really, really fun time at the track this weekend in Kansas, and I'm excited. Good luck this weekend, people.
Yeah, don't try to follow my ex because I'm sure she doesn't want anybody trying to hit her up right now. Not on good terms with any of my exes, by the way. So just don't
Are they
follow
all in
me.
Texas, Rod? That's the question.
Follow me. Yeah, well, they were back. Yeah, I think one of them may have been. Follow me on X. Do not follow my ex at RJ Villagomez. The link is in the bio to everything I got going on, whether it's here. Make sure you check out the back row tonight, Seth and Elliott, or tomorrow, depending on when you're up. Seth and Elliott talking about Kansas and throwing a little IndyCar action in there as well. Listen, I've already put up some rugby picks up on my X. I've also put up some darts picks, some esports picks are going to be coming up soon. All kinds of great stuff, so keep an eye out for that as well. All right, we'll see you next week for more of the show. But until then, yeah, live vicariously through Cody in his Kansas experience. And until then, everybody, we love you so much, and we'll see you next time. Let's go racing and let it ride.